Hi guys, and welcome to today's tutorial. In today's tutorial we're going to look at some advice for the business leaving cert exam paper and for the higher level paper. So the first thing we're going to look at is how basically the higher level paper is broken down into 7 different units. Okay, so you've got unit 1 is broken down into people and business. So this is looking at like stakeholders and their relationships and how conflicts can occur, and then how they can be resolved. So that's what basically unit 1 needs you need to look at. For unit 2, it's all about enterprise, and this is about enterprise characteristics and the skills and the importance of enterprise. Unit 3 is managing 1. So this is like manager characteristics, manager skills and activities that takes place within the business. Unit 4 is managing 2. So this is like the household and business finances, insurance and taxation. It's looking at the human resource management. It's looking at management of change, and it's looking at interpreting accounts. So it's like your ratios. Unit 5 is business in action, and this is looking at businesses' opportunities, how businesses set up in the startup, looking at marketing and business expansion. Unit 6 is domestic environment, and this is looking at categories of industry, the ownership structures, looking at community development, any government and the overall economy, and social responsibilities of businesses. And the last one is Unit 7, is international environment, and this is looking at the European Union, global business and international trade. So that's how the business higher level paper is broken down into. It's broken into 7 different units, and then I've spoke about what you need to know for each unit. One of the next things you need to know for the higher level business paper is you need to know these 7 different acts. Okay, so the first one is Consumer Protection Act 2007. The second one is the Sale of Goods and Supply of Services Act 1980. The Industrial Relations Act 1990. The fourth one is the Employment Equality Act 1998. The fifth one is the Unfair Dismissals Acts from 1977 to 2007. The sixth one is the Data Protection Act 1988 and in 2003. And the last one is the Companies Act 1990. That's basically just the formations of limited companies. So these are 7 acts that you must know for the higher level paper, and it's really important that you be able to explain any of these acts. And so you need to learn off what acts came about and the information that relates to them. The next thing that I think is really important for the business higher level exam paper that you need to know is these different command words. So these are the different command words that come up regularly in the higher level paper, and it's really important that you were able to understand what they're actually asking you to write in the exam. Like, so if they say analyze in the question, or if they say apply or compare or differentiate, you need to understand how to answer the question appropriately. Otherwise, you might not answer the question properly. So if they ask you to analyze, that basically means that you need to study a problem and then try to break it down into smaller parts and to examine maybe possible relationships within the text. If the question says apply, this is basically what you've got to do is to use your knowledge or maybe a skill for a particular purpose. If it says compare in the question, then it wants you to examine at least 2 things. So it might be 2 or it might be more things in order to discover maybe some of their similarities or their differences. If the question says differentiate, this means to distinguish between 2 or more things. If it says discuss, this means to examine or consider and maybe debate both sides of the argument. So maybe give advantages and disadvantages of the argument. And the last one, if it says evaluate, this means you have to assess it. It might say evaluate or assess. You've got to basically find or determine its value or its worth. Assess it, make a judgment on it, and you must use your own opinion when it says evaluate. You need to give a statement of opinion when you're asked to evaluate. The next thing I think that is very, very important that you need to know is calculations. Calculations will come up in the higher level paper, and the following calculations are the ones that I think are most important and that you need to be able to do. The first one is ratios. You need to know all the ratios. The second one is any tax calculations. The third one I think is the average clause, which you'll find in insurance. You need to be able to do the balance of trade and the balance of payments. You need to be able to work out cash flow forecasts, break-even points, and margin of safety. They're really, really important. You can do all of these calculations, and if you can't do them, well then you need to go to the various chapters, the one you can't do, learn it, and be able to do it for when it gets to the exam. Another thing that you need to be able to do is you need to be able to draw some very important diagrams in your paper. So you can be asked to draw a break-even chart, so you know how to draw a break-even chart, to draw a product life cycle, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You might be asked to draw some organizational structures, such as functional or the matrix structure, and you need to be able to draw the channels of distribution. So these are just some diagrams that you might be asked to draw in the exam. So you need to know these, and if you don't know them, again, go and learn how to draw these so you know them for your exam. Right, so the next thing you need to know with the exam layout is the total marks going. So there's 400 marks going for the business high level paper, and total time that you have for the exam is 180 minutes. So you've got 3 hours. For the business leaving cert questions, you've got 3 sections: section 1, section 2, and section 3. Section 1, you've got to answer 8 out of 10 short questions, but my advice here is to answer the 10 questions because you'll be marked on the best 8 that you answer. So if you answer just 8, well then if one is incorrect, well then you're only going to get 70 marks out of 80. Or if you answer 10 and 2 are wrong, you'll still might get full marks. If you've answered 8 of them correct, and you get 80 marks. For section 2, it's the ABQ, it's the applied business question. This is the compulsory question that you have, and it's 80 marks is going for this part. Section 3, you've got 7 questions, and you've got to answer 4 of them. Each one is worth 60 marks, so that'll give you a total of 240 marks in total. Just one thing to remember: you must develop your points fully. And basically, if the question is like 20 marks, that basically means that you need 4 points because every point is worth roughly 5 marks. So if the question is 15 marks, then that means you've got 3 points that you need to make, and they need to be developed. How you develop your answers fully? The first thing is that you need to state so it might be a definition or state your point that you're trying to make. You need to then explain it, so give on the knock-on effect. What does it actually mean? Explain it, develop it, and then try to illustrate it with like an example where possible. So that basically shows you a short little breakdown of the higher level business exam paper, the layout. Got 3 sections, section 1, 2, and 3. First one, you're going to answer all the short questions. Second one, you're going to do the ABQ, it's a compulsory question. And then the last section, section 3, you've got 7 questions, you've got to answer 4. Okay, so that's the end of this tutorial. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and maybe gained some valuable information from it. Just remember, this is really, really important because it's all about exam technique and how you structure your questions. It's really important that you understand the exam paper. There's no point in knowing everything, all the contents in the business leaving cert book, in the textbook, and not actually knowing how to write your answers and to structure your answers and knowing the exam technique. Exam technique is so important that you need to know this for the exam. So please watch this video, maybe watch it again, just so you learn how you should structure your answers and just some of the exam technique. If you enjoyed the video, could you leave me some feedback, maybe in the YouTube channel? You can find more videos on the website examvision.ie, and you can find more on the YouTube channel. And if you'd like, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news. Thank you.